things I noticed immediately when I arrived at PLU 5 years ago was the tremendous depth of talent that we have here. Here we're able to staff 2 large mixed choirs and perform music of considerable complexity, depth, and challenge, and perform them at high levels of musical excellence. So it's a lot of fun for me when I go to program performances and repertoire for performances to have the capacity to program that literature. This year we're heading to Eastern Washington and into Idaho. We have performances and exchanges at Central Washington University, one in Kennewick, one in Boise, a performance in Ketchum, Idaho, and also an exchange at Boise State University. So we're excited to share this repertoire in a program that I've called Reimaginings. And the title Reimaginings is certainly nothing new, but it reflects a layer of programming that I often like to do, and that's the combination of pieces to create a larger piece of art or a larger statement about the music. The first half of our program is all sacred music, and it roughly follows a liturgy. We begin the concert with Michael McGlynn's Christus Resurgens, which is a 12th century Irish chant that he set. McGlynn is famous for his work with Anuna, the Irish Celtic singing group. They do lots of really wonderful performances, and he's written a lot of arrangements for them. We move from Christus Resurgens, which functions as our introit, into the Die Deutsche Liturgy of Felix Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn set 3 movements of the Mass, one in its original Greek, the Kyrie eleison, and then 2 in German. Ehre sei Gott is the glory to God in the highest, and then Heilig is the Sanctus. Mendelssohn was both a Jew and a Protestant, and he also had several connections into the Catholic Church, so he wrote lots of music for a variety of liturgical circumstances and liturgical uses. And this piece, these 3 movements are just wonderful double choir settings. We move from the Heilig of Mendelssohn into the Benedictus of Carl Nielsen. The Sanctus is often followed by the Benedictus, and in this circumstance the Benedictus is actually a psalm, and Nielsen sets it in a 5-part fugue. It's very rhythmic, it has lots of interesting effects and challenges for the choir. And then we finish off our first half with 2 evening songs. Part of the liturgy in the evening is a Marian hymn, Ave Maris Stella, and for that we're singing Edvard Grieg's beautiful setting of Ave Maris Stella. And then our Nunc Dimittis, our Now Let the Servant Go Now in Peace, instead of doing that traditional text, we're doing Stephen Paulus's Pilgrim's Hymn. Even before I call on your name to ask you, O Lord, you were there. So it's an interesting set, and that finishes off our first half of the performance. The second half we have a set of pieces of love and loss, 3 wonderful poets. One is a setting that I wrote of a text by John Donne, A Valediction Forbidding Mourning. John Donne was one of the metaphysical poets, and in it he uses scientific metaphors for specific feelings and events. For example, he uses the image of the compass, whereas one foot moves further away, the other side of the compass leans after the one who has gone away. We follow that with Bitter for Sweet by John Korbajian, a wonderful setting of a text by Christina Rossetti, and then Eric Whitacre's Go Lovely Rose, one of the early pieces that Eric Whitacre wrote. It's a really beautiful setting of a text by Edmund Waller, and I think it represents some of his best writing. You see in it some of the early stages of his harmonic vocabulary that he has cultivated and made so famous. But it really has such an ebb and flow to it. It's a beautiful piece. And then we finish off our concert with some songs of Americana. We have 3 songs from Southern Harmony, the early 1800s hymnal, 2 arrangements by Alice Parker and Robert Shaw, Come Away to the Skies and Saints Bound for Heaven. We have a beautiful arrangement of How Can I Keep From Singing by Ron Staley. And then we conclude our concert with My God Is So High in a stirring arrangement by Moses Hogan.